The self-proclaimed bombshell movie 2000 Mules was released a couple of days ago, and the research in it can't be ignored, or at least it shouldn't. It will definitely be downplayed and dubiously debunked by those with a predisposition to espouse the assigned dismissive slogan, the big lie. Of course, the big lie refers to any inference that the 2020 presidential election was anything but the most secure election of all time. We put together a few highlights from 2000 Mules. I'm going to show you that first, and then quickly unpack it, fill in some blanks that you can see in the full version, and finally, suggest how we the people can use this information locally to fight for what's right. Here we go.
I've been in and around election intelligence and integrity for about 40 years. We've done investigations literally all over the world. It's a combination of data acquisition, data analysis, occasionally some in-depth data mining. Our ability to draw meaningful conclusions that link the who to the when to the where is significant in the space. In 40 years of doing this, we've seen this over and over again. Sometimes the schemes are a little bit different. Sometimes it's people out banging on doors, gathering ballots. Sometimes the ballots are sent here, gathered here, deposited there. But the trafficking itself is always the same basic pattern. There's a nonprofit involved somewhere in the middle. There are people that are either collecting those ballots on the one hand or depositing those ballots on the other and getting paid for it.
In no case is it acceptable to be paid for your ballot or to accept some form of remuneration for your ballot. And in no way, in no time, is that legal.
What, Greg, is geo-tracking?
So the idea is to collect these signals that are emitted from your phone. Your cell phone is delivering information to apps that are collecting that ping, so there are 4 key coordinates: the lat long, the elevation, and the time. And these techniques are used every single day by law enforcement, the intelligence community, the Department of Defense.
You have 10 trillion signals, that's a lot of signals. So what was the criterion that you set?
Final decision was they had to have been to 10 or more drop boxes, meaning unique visits inside of a space, and 5 or more visits to one or more of these organizations. We're not in any way saying that this is all there is. We're just saying that based on our criteria that we identified in Atlanta, 242 people that went to an average of 24 drop boxes in 8 organizations during a 2-week period.
It's one thing to have the scientific evidence, which is persuasive on its own merits, but do you have video evidence?
We do.
How much of it do you have?
4 million minutes of surveillance video around the country.
Okay, let's unpack. First, I'm not going to go into the background of the folks conducting this research, other than to tell you that they played a role in removing a Republican politician from office a number of years ago in a somewhat similar fashion. So what did we learn? We learned an organization called True the Vote purchased trillions of bytes of data from marketing firms and obtained 4 million minutes of video recordings requested through local governments. That information was used to identify the movement of individuals from location to location and record the time spent at each resting point. Those resting points were both nonprofit organizations where they picked up ballots and drop boxes where they deposited those ballots. We've learned that you may not deliver ballots on behalf of strangers according to existing law in many states. And you can't accept money for doing so in every state, or at least I believe every state. Because the ballots can never be retrieved, it will not be possible to say what candidate was on the ballot. Now, it might be deduced by evaluating the nonprofits, but it can't stand on its own as proof that the election was swayed. What it can prove is that certain individuals committed crimes and that their apprehension may lead to plea bargains, which could elevate our view in terms of identifying next level participants. So What can we the people do with this information? First, if the individuals that comprise the 2,000 mules violated local voting law, then we don't need to rely on a federal agency to pursue them. It can and should be done at a local level. Bringing some of those folks into custody and charging them, let alone prosecuting them, will be enough to make national headlines and to serve as a deterrent going forward by sending a message of consequence. It may also uncover others higher on the food chain. Okay, here are the action items that some of you will take. First, look in the description of this video and review the list of counties that served as the model for the film. Next, send letters, or better yet, call your local representatives, police chiefs, and district attorneys. Suggest they reach out to True the Vote. Ask or discuss with these officials how they might identify and apprehend the mules for questioning and potential prosecution. Now, given that most of the viewers that watch us are in their 50s and 60s, or at least watching me, George may pull a younger crowd. Some of you are likely to have relationships with your local authorities, and you can leverage those relationships. If any of you get traction, I want you to reach out to me and tell me about your experience so we can leverage it. Remember, no one of this world is coming to save you. You need to do it and show others how it's done. Bye for now.